Hello and welcome to Strangeplay. I'm Rik.
I'm Simon.
And this is our review for Yakuza 6, The Song of Life.
Okay, so you're the one that's playing this. I don't really get what Yakuza is. I know it's a spiritual successor to Shenmue in some ways, and because of that I've never played them, because I wasn't a fan of those games. But what is Yakuza 6? Like, go into a bit of depth of what it entails.
Yeah, I guess it kind of is like a spiritual successor to Shenmue. It's the series that got picked up after Sega lost Shenmue, I think. But this is the 6th one, and it's actually the 7th in the main Yakuza canon, because they released Yakuza 0 a couple of years ago.
Right.
It came out in Japan in December 2017, and worldwide on April 17th, 2018, so last week.
Right.
That was like 4 months wait, which isn't a long wait.
That's a quick turnaround for a translation.
Yeah, big time. And to be honest, I'll get to this later on, but the localization is absolutely superb. It's great. Like, it wasn't a rush job at all.
Right.
So they must have been doing it while they were just doing the Japanese version.
Yeah, running in parallel.
Yeah. This is only the second Yakuza game that I've played as well. I played the first one briefly for about 5 hours, probably about 10 years ago.
Right.
And I was a bit worried about getting lost in this one, but no, it was absolutely fine.
What do you mean getting lost? Like, mechanical-wise or story-wise?
Story-wise.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's going from the beginning, missing everything in the middle, then jumping straight to the end.
Right, okay. So, like, the story-wise, where does it pick up? Like, what is it about?
So the game begins with the lead character, Kazuma Kiryu, going to jail for crimes from previous games. So it picks up, I'm assuming, where 5 leaves off.
Okay, so you're playing the same guy throughout the series?
Yeah.
Right.
He goes to jail for 3 years, and then it picks up again when he gets out. And it revolves around Kiryu, who is an ex-Yakuza chairman. He's the 4th chairman, so he was like the head of a family, which is the Tojo family, I think they were called. And he's trying to find a young girl named Haruka Sawamura, if I'm saying that correctly, who's gone missing. He travels to the fictional ward of Kamurocho in Tokyo, which is based on the real-life Red District in Shinjuku.
Right.
And shortly after arriving, he discovers that Haruka has been in a hit-and-run accident and has been left in a coma. And to make things more complicated, she was actually found holding a baby, which was her son Haruto.
Okay.
And as Kiryu is Haruka's guardian, he took care of her after her parents were killed in a previous game. He takes it upon himself to look after the child while he tries to track down the kid's father and unravel the mystery of what happened to Haruka. Mm-hmm. To be honest, to say anything else about the story would ruin it. That's all I knew going into it. And to be perfectly honest, I'm glad that that's all I knew, because the story unfolds and it is honestly one of the most fun and engaging stories I've experienced in a game for a long, long time. And I really don't want to spoil it for anyone.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to go into these story-heavy games. It's one of those things where you just, you want to go in as blind as possible.
Yeah.
So, how does it play then?
Okay, so Yakuza 6 is an open-world action-adventure game with a massive emphasis on story. So the bread and butter of the gameplay comes down to you wander around Kamurocho or Onamichi and you get into fights. So you're walking around the streets trying to get from A to B or trying to find clues or something, and there's gangs of thugs everywhere and they'll just jump you while you're running around.
Right.
Luckily, the direction of the next story mission is always indicated on the map by a purple arrow, so you can never get lost or forget where you're heading. So if you come away for a couple of days, then go back to it, just look at your map. Oh, I need to go over there. But there's a lot more to do than just the main story.
Okay.
Like, a lot more. There are a ton of sub-stories to find, and they range from the mundane to the ridiculous. So one minute you're bumping into an old friend, and then the next you're talking to a girl who claims to have leapt through time, or you're beating up a ghost.
Oh, so it's not deadly serious then? There's some jokey stuff in there. More light-hearted stuff.
Yeah, that's what's so cool about it. A lot of the main story is incredibly heavy.
Right.
Like, it is really heavy, like high drama stuff. And then they'll just go the complete other direction, and it's just ridiculous fun. So it never gets too heavy, because there's always a bit of comic relief, but it never detracts from the drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got the balance absolutely perfect.
So you mentioned going round and getting attacked by thugs. Are there any other types of missions?
Yeah, actually. There are things called trouble missions. So you have an app on your phone called Troubler.
Oh.
Yeah.
I aren't going to make the obvious comparison, but go on.
And every now and then it'll just go off and you'll get an alert, and it'll be something like a gang was spotted terrorizing a young couple in the park.
Right.
And then you accept the mission, go to the park, beat up the thugs. Sometimes there'll be someone on the floor like, oh, I need medicine, and then you give them like a health potion or something.
Right, okay. So what's his name? Kiryu? Kiryu isn't an out-and-out bad guy then, he's actually got morals.
Yeah, I don't know his entire backstory because I haven't played through the other ones yet, but he does come across as, considering that he is a criminal.
Yeah, it's not black or white, it's shades of grey.
Yeah, he has a strong moral code and, he knows what's right and what's wrong, but sometimes he will do the wrong thing for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. So he's like an anti-hero, I suppose.
So, it's an open world. Are there any distractions that you can take part in?
Too many.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There are so many. It is absolutely ridiculous. So you've got things like hostess bars where you can go, you've got baseball batting cage where you can go to the gym. There are arcades, and the arcades include full versions of Virtua Fighter 5, a Final Showdown. There's an HD version of Puyo Puyo, an upscaled version of Outrun, Super Hang-On, Space Harrier, and Fantasy Zone.
That's like all the classic Sega games.
Yeah, and they're full versions of the games as well. They're not stripped down or anything. And Virtua Fighter 5 and Puyo Puyo are 2-player.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting for a single-player game.
Yeah, so you've got full games within the other game.
That's so meta.
Right? There's like a weird tower defense game as well called Clan Creator, which has its own story. So as you're running around doing shit, someone approaches you and you end up helping him. And then you end up sort of creating your own street gang to try and take down this other street gang that was created to take down street gangs. But then it became the big bad street gang, so now that needs to be taken down. And at first I kind of dismissed it because I'm not a big tower defense game fan.
Right.
And then I was like, well, I want to keep going back to this game. So after I finished it, I went back and I played the hell out of that as well, and it's actually a lot of fun.
It looks a lot deeper than it initially seems.
Yeah, there's a hell of a lot going on. And like considering that the maps of the two regions that you play in aren't as big as other games like Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that.
Right.
There's more in them. Like,
Okay.
they are so dense. Like, it's possible to run from one side of the map to the other in a couple of minutes, but the fights, the distractions, the subquests, the amount of stuff that there is to do in such a contained space is insane, and it really makes the city feel more alive than a lot of other games that I've played.
So you mentioned fighting and stuff. How does it work? Is it totally freeform, or is it QTEs like Shenmue?
The combat is crazy. It is absolutely insane. So you've got your standard punch, kick and grab combos, which are fine, but they just chip away enemy health and they help build up your heat gauge. But within the arena, or the environment should I say, there's interactive environments and there's objects that you can pick up to use as weapons. So you can pick up traffic cones, bikes, fucking knives, things like that, and just beat on these thugs.
It's basically Jackie Chan. He just picks anything up that's near him and hits someone.
And like when I say pick up a bike, I literally mean he picks up a bike and just starts smashing people around the face with them. And then when your heat gauge fills up, you get prompted to press triangle, and that does like a special attack that just takes off ridiculous damage.
So what is the heat gauge then?
It's kind of like you hit something again and again and again and again, and the more you hit something, the more it builds up. And
It's an ultimate.
yeah, that's an easier way of describing it. It's an ultimate.
Yeah, it's sort of, you do your attacks and then you can do a special that is game changing.
Yeah, and it really is game changing, especially in like boss encounters and stuff like that, because they take a battering. And to be honest, just ending something with one of those special attacks is so satisfying. Oh, it's great. And they're fucking visceral as well. Like, he knocks someone over with a bike, and then he jumps up into the air and power slams the bike onto them. Or, like, when you get a knife and you do it with a knife, he'll stab them in the stomach, and then he'll knee them in the knife.
Oh, that's nasty.
Yeah.
Do you ever play Sleeping Dogs? That had a similar thing, like a context sensitivity between the levels.
I haven't. I didn't play that.
Yeah, so like you could throw them under roller doors and then just slamp roller doors on them.
Yeah.
So the guy that you're playing, is he at a fixed power level throughout the game, or can you level him up and like augment him with different perks? Or
It doesn't gain levels like in RPGs, but you can use points earned by fighting, mission completion, eating food, etc. to level up individual stats like health, defense, attack. You can put those points into battle skills, heat action, and passive skills as well, like how long you can run for, alcohol tolerance.
you know, it's a Japanese game when there's an alcohol tolerance in it.
There's one for how well you can chat up girls in a hostess bar.
Is there a lot of weird stuff like that in this game?
Yeah.
Typically Japanese stuff.
Yeah, it's very Japanese. And the funny thing is, like, having gone over there last year and spending time in Tokyo, I'm like, this isn't exaggerated at all.
Yeah, it's like going to Disneyland.
This is
but
just
it's
how
not.
it is.
It don't feel out of place. So, how's the story delivered to you? Is it through cutscenes, or is it just like freeform, like just people talking?
There are a lot and I mean a lot of dialogue-heavy cutscenes in this game. I'm talking like Metal Gear Solid levels.
That's a lot of talking.
Yeah, just lots of talking. Like, as soon as I hit a cutscene, I just put my control pad down and watch. And that might put some people off, but I personally absolutely loved it because it was just really engaging. Elena and my housemate, Sophie, they'd come into the living room while I was playing it and just sit and watch. And they were like, oh, what's happening next? What's going on? Because the whole thing just plays out like a Japanese drama.
Yeah, it's a good spectator game for people that don't play games.
Yeah, and like if you're interested in a good story, the story's there. But also the gameplay itself is engaging and fun enough that it isn't boring to watch. It's a really nice mix, I think.
Right. So what were the biggest highlights of this game for you?
Right, first off, the game looks absolutely stunning. It's a really, really good-looking game. Characters and environments look great. The face capture they've used is absolutely fantastic as well. The city of Kamurocho looks incredible, especially at night. Like, the lighting is just absolutely fantastic. The voice acting is some of the best I've ever heard in a game as well. Takeya Kuroda reprises his role as Kiryu, and I'm like, I'm going to help you, because the rest of the main cast are played by Japanese screen actors like Takeshi Kitano, Hiroyuki Miyasako, Yoko Maki, and Tetsuya Fujiwara. So the performances are fantastic. Like, they all bring a very nuanced screen performance to it, and it just kind of adds a level of realism to the performance.
So, are they speaking in Japanese or in English and it's subtitles?
Everything's in Japanese.
Right, that might explain the quick development time for Western audiences if it's subtitled.
They've done something with the games. In the last few, from what I've heard, everything's just native Japanese, but when someone from a different region speaks their language, they speak their language.
Right.
So you won't have like a white American character speaking Japanese. You'll have them speaking American with Japanese subtitles for Japan.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. The thing that really impressed me about the voice acting as well was how impressed Elena was by it, because she lived in Japan for a few years and she kept commenting on how the different characters had regional accents, and I couldn't notice that myself because, you know, I don't have the experience that she does. It's like I still have trouble defining different regions of American accents. You know, it'll just, a lot of it kind of sounds the same to me. But she was picking out just different regional accents like that. And
yeah, by living it, she can understand where they're from.
Yeah, and, you know, it's the small details like that that just show how quality it is. Something else that I really loved as well is I was saying that this is the sixth game, well, like the seventh game in the series. It's only the second one that I've played, and I was worried about getting lost in it. At the start of the game, there's a dream sequence where Kiryu can talk to characters from the previous games, and it gives you a little recap of who they are, what they've done, how they got there, what they mean to him, you know, what their relationship with him is. You can completely skip it if you want. You can just run down the middle of them and get to the end of the dream sequence, or you can talk to them all. But I thought it was a really nice way of having, like, optional exposition.
Yeah, it's like the previously on Yakuza sort of thing.
Yeah, and it was a great way just to bring you up to speed enough to know who people are without completely ruining the previous games if you want to go back and experience those for yourself.
Right, okay.
The variety in the sub-stories was amazing as well. So we said earlier about how the main story is really fucking heavy, but a lot of the sub-stories are just crazy. So the first sub-story that I did was a guy was arguing with his girlfriend, and basically had been on those cam girl sites chatting up girls.
Right.
And because Kiryu's an older man, has been in jail for 3 years, he didn't know what the guy was on about. So the guy takes you to an internet cafe and introduces you to these camgirl websites, which you can go back and visit whenever you want as a distraction. There's one where a guy is trying to open a cat cafe, but all the cats ran away. So you've got to go around and find stray cats and like feed stray cats and stuff because he wants, and his reasoning for it's amazing as well. It's so sweet. He's like, no one loves stray cats. I think stray cats need love as well. So he's trying to basically give them a home and a purpose. And I'm like, I'm going to help you because I like you and I like cats and I'm going to do this. And I've just found one as well that made me laugh because the title of it's just called like, comment, subscribe. And it's about a guy who is trying to interview Yakuza people because he wants to get famous on YouTube, which is just like the most ridiculous thing.
Maybe we're in the wrong business.
Yeah, we should be interviewing
gangsters.
Yeah, career criminals, organised criminals.
What about negatives? Is there anything that's people should have a heads up of before they get into this game?
Yeah, sadly, it doesn't run great on the PS4 Slim. So on the older models or the non-pro models of the PlayStation 4, it doesn't run that well. There's big black borders around the screen. Easy enough to ignore once you get into it, but at first I was like, this is annoying. And there's like noticeable slowdown and tearing whenever you enter a building's interior.
Is it seamless going between buildings and outside?
Pretty much, apart from the tearing.
Right, okay.
I spent a few hours playing it on the Pro as well, though, and it runs considerably better. Like, the slowdown and tearing's gone, there's no black borders around the screen, it looks absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, the system to play it on is definitely the Pro, but it is competent on the older systems, it's just considerably better on the Pro. There's constant gameplay interruptions as well, which did my head in.
What do you mean?
You'd be walking from a story mission, or walking to a story mission, and then you'll walk past someone, and it'll just automatically trigger a sub-story. And it's the most jarring thing, because it completely breaks the flow of the game.
So you don't actually go up to the missions and press a button to kick them off? It's like a proximity thing?
For some, you have to go and do it yourself,
right.
But other ones, it will just trigger it if you're in proximity, like you said. And yeah, it can get really fucking annoying. So I was chasing someone, there was a timer, and I ran past someone and it triggered a sub-story.
Oh, no.
And then I had to sit there for 5 minutes and talk to this person. And then when that intro ended, it kicked me back into the chase. Like, luckily, the timer hadn't gone down.
They just waited there for you to talk to a person?
Yeah, but they just waited while I had a chat.
Yeah, that's sort of immersion breaking, I'm guessing.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
There's bits as well where you've got Haruto, who's the baby, and you're running around trying to find him some baby powder, trying to find him some milk. And every now and then, he'll start crying. And it forces you into a mini game where you have to stop him crying. And like once or twice, I'm like, okay, I get it, this is cool. But after like the 15th time, I just wanted to throw him in the fucking sea.
Yeah, that sounds very intrusive, like Grand Theft Auto 4's phone calls. Like, hey, Nico, you want to go? No, I don't want to go bowling. Like, that sort of, it's forced upon you. You don't want it.
Yeah, and that was just really irritating. But you don't have Haruto for very long. You do palm him off onto someone to look after him while you go out and break some skulls, which is good.
Cool. Responsible adult.
Yeah. It's really funny because he literally just gives the baby to this person who he's known for 5 minutes. It's like, here,
doing my fucking head in, you have him.
Yeah. And to be honest, I'm with him on that. Oh, back to a highlight. I will say, though, that the kid is amazing. Like, Haruto is fantastic. Just the way he moves and stuff, like, he looks like a real baby. He doesn't just sit there like a sack of potatoes. He actually moves around and stuff. But they do use the, you know, that stock baby laugh?
That sort of, like...
Yeah, that one, it freaks me the fuck out. It always has done. I'm not a fan of it. That they use that. So that's another negative, actually. Stock baby laughter. Stop doing it. It's weird.
So, despite all that bad stuff that you just mentioned, would you recommend it?
Absolutely. It is one of the best games I've played in a very long time. It is completely engaging. The story is a lot of fun. I found myself genuinely giving a shit about these characters who I'd only just met. The gameplay was so much fun. It's so satisfying. It's just this complete package. Like, everyone talks about Shenmue and like, oh, I wish they'd... I mean, now they're getting an HD version of it and they're getting a third one of it. And after playing this, all I can think is, why don't you just play Yakuza? It's everything that you want, but it's refined. And it is honestly one of the best games I've played this year.
Wow.
And I'm actually kicking myself that I've never picked up the series before and given it a shot, even though I've got 5 of the fucking games on my shelf.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our review of Yakuza 6. But what about you guys who are watching this video? Have you played it? If you have, what did you think? If you haven't, will you be picking it up? Let us know in the comments below, or on Twitter at StrangePlayUK, or over at the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/StrangePlayUK. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Goodbye.